I am really excited, guys, because today's video is my TBR for the Reading Rush, which is the BookTube-a-thon, in case you didn't know. It changed names just to make it more inclusive of all different types of readers, so the people who aren't a part of BookTube feel like they are as welcome as everybody else. If you haven't checked out the Reading Rush website, you should, because it's really cool, and I will leave my profile link or my friend link or whatever in the description so that you can add me as a friend if you want to be my friend on it. So anyway, I'm here with my TBR. It's basically all middle grade books that are really short. I want to read a lot of books during the BookTube-a-thon. I mean, the Reading Rush, I'm sorry. Let's try that again. I want to read a lot of books during the Reading Rush, and in order to do that, they have to be short and easy. So these are them, and we're going to get into them. The first challenge is to read a book with purple on the cover. So I'm reading The Wizards of Once by Cressida Cowell. Now this doesn't look like a small book, but it is. It has lots of illustrations in it, and it has some pages like this, so I feel like it'll be pretty easy to get through. This is middle grade. I got it for Christmas, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before. So I'm also going to count this for the challenge of read a book that you meant to read last year. For read a book in the same spot the entire time, I'm not sure which book I'm going to use for that, but the spot is either going to be my chair in my library or just my bed. And I guess I'll just let you know in my wrap-up which spot I chose and which book I read for that. But for now, I'm not sure yet which book I'm going to use. For the challenge of read an author's first book, I've decided to read Tithe by Holly Black, which I've already read, but I read this in high school. Like, I'm pretty sure I read it in grade 10 or grade 11. Like, it had just come out, I'm pretty sure. I did like this in high school. I remember thinking it was really, really cool. But literally, I remember nothing. There's one line from it that I remember. So I'm going to go with this because it's basically going to be like reading it for the first time. And I do have the sequel, which I haven't read. And in order to read the sequel, I have to reread the first one. And I would really like the third one. I know you can get a bind-up of all of them now that just came out, which is great and it's really pretty. But I have the first two in the same edition, and I would love the third one in the same edition, which is really hard to come by. Like, this one I bought brand new at Chapters when it came out. And I found this at a Value Village, I think, like last year. And I was like, no way! So, anyway, I'm gonna read Tithe. Or read a book with a non-human main character. I've decided to read The House at Pooh Corner, which is not the first Winnie the Pooh book, because it says More Hilarious Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which makes me assume this isn't the first Winnie the Pooh book. But I have a feeling I don't need to read them in order to understand what's going on. And this is like an old edition. I don't know when it's from. Let's check. Here we go. 1956. The book was written in 1928, but this book was published, this version of this book was from 1956. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty old. So I'm going to read that. Next challenge is pick a book that has 5 or more words in the title. So I chose Sideways Stories from Wayside School, which is also technically a reread. I didn't like physically read this myself in elementary school, but we read it as a class. Like, our teacher read it to us in grade 2 or 3, I think. And I remember thinking it was a lot of fun. And I found this somewhere at a used bookstore, I think. I don't remember. And I was like, oh my goodness, I remember this. And I also just realized this is the same author who wrote Holes. So that's kind of cool, which I haven't read Holes. But anyway, so this is going to be my book that has 5 or more words in the title. And the last challenge is to read a book and watch the movie adaptation. And so for that, I have chosen Matilda by Roald Dahl. I've only read 2 Roald Dahl books. I read James and the Giant Peach when I was in grade 5. And I've read the BFG, which I read for the BookTube-a-thon 2 years ago, I think. So I thought I would go with Matilda, and then I'll watch the movie. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. I tried watching it with my niece about a year ago, and she wanted to stop watching it because she thought the parents were too mean. So these are all the books I've decided to attempt to read for the Reading Rush. I hope, because I've picked out all middle grade books except for one, and that the one YA book is pretty small, and like pretty easy read. Like, it's a small book. I'm hoping that I can actually do it. I also have an extra day off during the week that the Reading Rush is happening. Usually, I swear every year without fail, it's always the week before or the week after my vacation. Never during my vacation, which I feel like is okay because I usually have a lot of stuff planned for my vacation, but this year I literally have nothing planned. I'm visiting a friend for one weekend, and I'm selling my books at a cruise ship docking for one day, and that is it. That's all I'm doing on the 11 days that I have off. But anyway, the reading rush starts the Monday that I go back to work. But the Monday that I go back to work, I don't work until 12, so I can read in the morning before work. And then I randomly have Wednesday off. And then I'm off the weekend. So I think I can do it. Add me as a friend on the Reading Rush website, and we can have lots of fun together. Okay, bye. Have a good day.